What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the world according to Briggs. Are you sick of politics yet? I am. I'm also really done with people doing things that get themselves indicted too. Almost every week we get a story of an elected official involved in a bribery, a fraud, or some other form of corruption. Normally, the higher up the official, the higher chance they have of walking or just getting a slap on the wrist and a little light jail sentence. In past videos, we talked about corrupt states, cities, and mayors. Today, I thought we should look at the states that sent corrupt people to Congress. I could do 3 videos just on convictions since 2000. I could probably do a month's worth if I went all the way back to the beginning of the country. We are only doing people that were convicted in this video. Please don't leave comments about how I missed someone that's never been convicted. I don't care how strongly you feel about your conspiracies, and we don't need links to Facebook groups that detail all of their dirty deeds. If we're going to talk about corrupt lawmakers, we should probably start with Number 10, New York. Representative Michael Grimm. The Empire State sent Michael Grimm to Congress, and he didn't stay long. Michael Grimm is an American businessman, convicted felon, Marine Corps veteran, and politician who represented New York in the United States Congress from 2011 to 2015. The congressman was indicted in 2013 on 20 counts involving tax fraud in connection with a Manhattan restaurant that he owned with some other people. He pleaded guilty to felony tax evasion and was sentenced to 8 months in prison. He was released on May 20th, 2016 after serving only 7 months. Got an extra month off for being a good boy. I guess he thinks New Yorkers are either dumb or have a really short memory, because a little over a year after getting out of prison, he ran again. On October 1st, 2017, Grimm launched a campaign to attempt to win back his old House seat in New York's 11th district. On June 26, 2018, he lost his Republican primary, and we haven't heard from him since. I'm sure some people have, but really not in the news. Number 9, Pennsylvania. Rep. CHAKA FATTAH. In August of 2014, FATTAH's longtime aide and close confidant, Gregory Naylor, pled guilty to federal charges in a money laundering scheme to hide $1 million loan to the candidate for a failed campaign to be mayor in 2007. Now, the loan was paid back using federal grant money intended for nonprofit organizations affiliated with FATTAH. So apparently he needed $1 million more than the cause the money was intended for. CHAKA FATTAH is a man of the people. I guess all those nonprofit groups and charities, they could do without the $1 million. FATTAH needed it. The congressman was indicted in 2015 on charges of racketeering and taking an illegal $1 million campaign loan. He was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison. Number 8, Arizona. The Grand Canyon State sent Rick RENZI to Congress in 2003, and on February 22, 2008, a federal grand jury in Arizona handed up a 35-count indictment charging RENZI with conspiracy, wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, insurance fraud, corruption, and influence peddling from a scam involving a federal land exchange that included property in Arizona. He was convicted in 2013 on 17 felonies and served 3 years in prison. Now, he tried a couple different things. Couple different appeals. Then he finally asked for a pardon from President Trump, and I think they lost his pardon request in the mail because nothing ever happened with it. In the end, he served all his time and got out of jail in January of 2017. He was a busy boy while in office, and no word on if he's gonna try and run again. Number 7, Florida. The Sunshine State sent Corrine Brown to Congress. Corrine Brown is a former politician and current inmate who served as a member of the U.S. House of Representatives from Florida from 1993 to 2017. So she'd been there a while, and I'm sure she had a good grasp of all the rules. The Congresswoman was indicted in 2016 on fraud and conspiracy charges tied to allegations that she and 2 associates solicited donations for education scholarships from minority students and then diverted most of the funds to their own accounts. She was convicted in 2017 and sentenced to 5 years in prison. Corrine Brown lost her appeal on January 10th of this year, 2020. She's still in the big house, and it looks like she'll get the full ride. Number 6, Louisiana. The Pelican State sent William Jefferson to Congress in 1991. Like so many others, I'm sure he saw the memo about not taking envelopes of cash from people he really didn't know well. The congressman was indicted in 2007 on charges of accepting about $500,000 in bribes, $90,000 of which was hidden in a freezer at his home, and well, that was until the FBI found it. He was convicted and sentenced to 13 years in prison. On November 13th, 2009, Jefferson was given the bad news that he had a reservation probation at the federal prison for bribery and corruption. He is a record holder. He got the longest sentence ever given to a congressman. That 13 years? Yeah. He began serving finally after some appeals in May of 2012 at the federal prison in Beaumont, Texas. At least he got out of Louisiana. I think they still got chain gangs there. They got a backwards prison system from everything I've read. Number 5, Texas. The Lone Star State sent Steve Stockman, that's a tongue twister, to Congress twice in 2 different districts. Steve Stockman served as the U.S. representative for Texas's 9th Congressional District from 1995 to 1997, then for the 36th Congressional District from 2013 to 2015. Now, my favorite story about this dude is a story of humiliation. The 1992 Republican National Convention was held in Houston. Stockman organized a congressional cruise on the Houston Shipping Channel as a fundraising opportunity, but no members of Congress attended. He was like there alone with his supporters and nobody else. He wasn't very popular. A Democrat actually defeated him 56% to 44%. That's kind of hard to do in Texas. Stockman ran in the Republican primary for the United States Senate in 2014, but lost to incumbent John Cornyn. Losing to Cornyn would seem like a good time if he knew what was going to happen next. On March of 2017, Stockman was arrested for using contributions meant for charity to fund his campaign and, of course, his personal use. On November 7th, 2018, he was sentenced to serve 10 years in prison and ordered to pay over $1 million in restitution. And then that was to be followed by 3 years of supervised release. Stockman is incarcerated at a facility in the federal prison system in Beaumont, Texas, and is scheduled to be released on December 26, 2026. Good luck, Steve. Number 4, North Carolina. The Tar Heel state sent Frank Ballance to Congress after he had been a member of the North Carolina State Senate for almost 15 years. He's an attorney. You know, the guys that went to school to learn about what's legal and what ain't. On September 2nd, 2004, Ballance was indicted on federal charges including money laundering, mail fraud, and conspiracy to commit mail fraud. The charges arose after allegations were made that Ballance took $2.3 million in state funds he secured as a state senator for the John A. Hyman Memorial Youth Foundation, and he used the cash to enrich himself, his family, and his church. At least he was giving money to the church, you know. He can't be all that bad, right? Idiot. Anyway, he did his time and sadly passed away almost exactly a year ago today. About 2 days ago, actually. It was a year. Number 3, Illinois. The Land of Lincoln sent Jesse Jackson Jr. to Congress in 1995. He was representing Illinois' 2nd Congressional District in the United States House of Representatives until his resignation in 2012. He's son of activist and former presidential candidate Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson Jr. pleaded guilty on February 20th, 2013 to 1 count of wire and mail fraud in connection with his misuse of $750,000 campaign dollars. Now, I get a hard time for my wife if I misuse $100. But this guy spent $750,000 of somebody else's money and finally got in trouble. Anyway, Jackson was sentenced to 2.5 years. He was released in the morning of June 22nd, 2015 and spent the remaining sentence in a halfway house. Number 2, New York. The Empire State gave Congress a real piece of work recently. Christopher Collins served as the U.S. representative for New York's 27th Congressional District from 2013 until his resignation in 2019. Collins, the former Western New York congressman who admitted his role in an insider trading scheme, was sentenced to more than 2 years in prison. He jumped into the spotlight in 2016 as the first member of Congress to endorse Donald Trump's presidential campaign. On December 9th, 2019, Collins and the SEC agreed that Collins would be permanently barred from acting as an officer for any publicly traded company. In January of this year, federal prosecutors recommended that Collins receive a maximum prison sentence, nearly 5 years in prison. On January 17th of this year, he was sentenced and Collins got 26 months in prison. I don't think he's checked into his new digs yet, but I'm sure that's coming soon, since there's not many appeals when you kind of admit it, and make a deal. And number 1, California. The Golden State sent us this nugget, Duncan Hunter. Duncan Dwayne Hunter is a politician who served as the U.S. representative for California's 50th Congressional District from 2013 to 2020. In August of 2018, a federal grand jury indicted Hunter and his wife on 60 counts of wire fraud, falsifying records, campaign finance violations, and conspiracy. The San Diego U.S. Attorney's Office accused the couple of conspiring to misuse about $250,000 in campaign funds for personal expenses, as well as filing false campaign finance reports. Personal expenses charged to the campaign included vacations to Italy and Hawaii, theater tickets, purchases on the gaming platform Steam. The indictment says that Hunter wanted to buy some shorts for himself, and his wife suggested that he falsely report the purchase as golf balls for the Wounded Warrior Project, which that didn't fly. On another occasion, he tried to unsuccessfully arrange a tour of a Navy base in Italy to cover the family's vacation. When the Navy couldn't arrange something on the date Hunter wanted, he told his chief of staff to tell the Navy, and I won't use the real word, but it was tell the Navy to go F themselves. That's what he officially sent over to him. What a dickweed. The indictment also alleges that Hunter spent campaign money on personal relationships with 5 different women in the Washington, D.C. area. He's getting a divorce. The sentencing was scheduled for March 17th, 2020. He faces a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison and a fine of up to $250,000. Yeah, he's in deep. I don't think we're going to be hearing much from him in the political forum for quite some time. Alright, so that is my list, the most corrupt congressional representatives and the state they're from. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys got some information out of it. If you like what I do here, please subscribe. Give the video a big thumbs up if you liked it. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.